Story. Consider spiritual soap framework. Step 1. Story. Current and desired story to supersize and grow your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Obviously off to a rough start. Today we're talking about, and we're applying this soap framework to a spiritual related challenge, obstacle, setback, area we want to improve in our business. Yesterday we came up with it. Today we are going to start applying and using the soap framework to fill the gap between where we are and where we want to be. But the first thing we need to do in order to do that is figure out what is that gap. Where are we right now? What is our current story? What is our current situation with respect to this spiritual obstacle challenge topic? And maybe we've just never even considered that there's a spiritual component or aspect to our business at all. There absolutely positively is. Just like there's an emotional one, there's an energetic one, and all of it comes together by the end of the year to help us grow and build and supersize our business. So how do we go about identifying our current story or situation and our desired story or situation? I do it in a very simple format. I grab a piece of paper, maybe not this big. This is just big for illustrative purposes. And on it, I put current, I put desired. I usually write the area that I'm working on across the top. So for me, in the Be a Better You Annual Challenge, I am working on my personal connection to a higher power, to source, or whatever you call it, God, source, whatever it is. That's what I am working on in the Be a Better You Annual Challenge. For my businesses, I am doing a review of and looking at the spiritual component of each of our businesses and brands, and then figuring out what is the current situation and then what is the desired situation that we want. Because they're businesses in different industries, so what applies to one doesn't necessarily fit or apply to another. But it all has to do with how we show up in the business and how we connect with our customers, our stakeholders, everybody, because we're all spiritual beings, right? If you're human, you're a spiritual being. I'm not going to speak to the other living creatures or living things on the planet, but I think that everything is energy, so it's all connected and all related. Just my opinion. So today, what are we doing? We are taking the area of spiritual health and well-being that we've decided we're going to look at and we want to improve. If we didn't want to improve it, there'd be no reason to look at it. So we wouldn't do it, right? We'd spend our time and energy somewhere else. We're going to pay attention today to what is the current situation. And I like to do this as I go about the day for a lot of these activities that we do, or action items. I call them action items. I like to have a little scrap of paper with me or a little notebook, and I carry it around. I always carry a little notebook around at work anyway, and write down as I notice something that comes up that describes or identifies to me what the current situation is for the item that I'm looking at or auditing. I like to audit things, meaning I pay attention to what's actually going on and I write them down. And often I will take a picture of them. I used to walk around with a camera when I was in corporate America all the time, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. I can show you a picture of something that isn't how it's supposed to be, and you can see it for yourself. And it's not just me saying something, it's you saying, okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about. We need to change the way we're doing this one thing. And I do the same thing in my life these days, because we always have a cell phone with us, right? It's pretty easy to snap a picture of things. But you don't have to snap pictures. Just pay attention as you go about your day. Write down bullet points of what the current story or current situation is. And then at the end of the day is when I usually write down the desired one. Unless it's so in my face when I write down the current one, I just write down the desired bullet point. That it doesn't have to match one for one, but I often find that that's an easy way to do this and get the documentation that I need to really illustrate the gap between where I am or where our business is and where we want to be. All right. Any questions about this? We've done this before if you've been with me for any period of time. If not, welcome, and let's do this together. I guarantee we get out of things what we put into them. So if you put just a little bit of effort into the daily actions, guarantee that by the end of this year, you will be so far ahead of where you would be otherwise, you won't even believe it. All right, that's why I do annual challenges. A little bit every day goes a really long way. All right, any questions, ask. Otherwise, I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.